I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it to you again. You're doing a lot better than you think you are. You've kind of been put into this little holding period where you can kind of sit and reflect. For some of you, this may be a really frustrating period because you are integrating a lot of lessons, and these are lessons that you've kind of had to deal with for a lifetime. For many of you, this is actually a mastery of your own energy, where I have this 10 of Trees at the back of my deck, which is the marrying of ego and spirit. And what you're going through right now is a point where you can see how much you have mastered your own energy. So it may feel like you're being triggered by things. People are kind of coming out of the woodwork, like challenging you, talking to you in sort of like unexpected ways, like maybe with an attitude or this kind of thing. And it's to show you how much you've mastered your energy. And I'm talking to people here who maybe have like a strong Aries placement, kind of like a fiery energy, that stems from like a chaotic past kind of thing. That this isn't, it's not something that you want to be. It just feels like you were born with a lot of energy that you didn't know what to do with, that you didn't have people to guide you. It was, everything felt very overwhelming, and your own energy is overwhelming and could manifest in very destructive ways. And you actually, throughout your life, had people that enjoyed this side of you for their own benefit. So they would try and like play in your face or get other people to do it because they loved seeing your reaction, where you have such a volatile reaction. And you may have found yourself, you may consider yourself an introvert, even though you're not like that at all. Like maybe when you're out with people, you're actually very sociable, extroverted, that kind of thing, but you always kept to yourself because you felt that you had this like an untamable or very chaotic, destructive, like short fuse kind of energy that you didn't know what it was going to be that would like trigger this energy in you, but you didn't want to like socialize with people in case it could get to that point. And the people that knew this side of you really enjoyed exploiting it, but just for their own benefit. They like to see how you'd react. They like to see how, what would happen to another if they baited you, that kind of thing. You've probably gone through a season of healing where you've removed certain people from your life, and you've been able to take stock of this, where I have this pelican in reverse. This is telling me that you have learned this lesson, you've passed this test. This pelican is the gatekeeper to the spirit realm. This in reverse is telling me that you've learned this lesson and you're actually seeing the integration of this. That you may be feeling like, why are people trying to test me lately? And the fact that you can sit here and internalize it and be like, what the hell's going on, is a sign of how much mastery that you have achieved. That the older version of you would not have sat down with yourself like this, wouldn't be having this like internalized, like, what could be going on here? A reflection of their own energy. And this is me like speaking to that older version of you to say that you have achieved mastery. That energy that you had inside of you that you would feel like bubble up and overflow to a point, to like an uncontrollable point, to where you would ask yourself like, what is going on? What's wrong with me? This kind of thing. Like some of you may have had issues with the law, that kind of thing, where it's, I just heard you spoke more with your hands than with your words, and people would see this and they like to test you. Or they would, they try to bait other people into testing you. Like some of you maybe had friends that would talk about you to other people behind your back to get whoever they're speaking to like confront you so they could watch whatever interaction goes down, because they know you're a bit of a short fuse and they know that how quickly things are going to escalate if that person challenges you, that kind of thing. And they enjoyed seeing, like it was all for their own benefit. They just enjoyed the spectacle of what your energy brought to the table. This Phoenix here is like a rebirth energy, which is on the other side of this pelican here, is saying that you are reborn. You have, you've mastered this energy. You've become a whole new version of you. And you're being like triggered right now so that you can see that you aren't reacting in the same way, and that you actually have an intense level of mastery because you were born with a big energy. These are like the Aries placements. Some Scorpios coming through here. It's a lot of like fire sign, but also with like a depth to it, kind of like a twistedness to it. I'm getting like Scorpio 4th house, or like any kind of like dark 4th house energy. Like you may have had, or even like a Scorpio moon, anything that would point to a kind of turbulent childhood, that kind of thing, where abuse was present, but to a point that it was normalized. So your like what would seem like a crazy response to others, to you was just the typical response to perceived disrespect, perceived attitude, any of that, that other people really enjoyed the just the amount of energy you would bring to these kinds of situations, that you may have had to learn from a young age that not to let things escalate. That if someone tries you once in the smallest way, the point is to squash that immediately, because that annihilates the threat. Like things were out of proportion for you from the very beginning, and you've had to learn to acclimate to a completely different world. You may have felt that you were between two worlds, between your home life and outside life, and it was challenging for you to navigate that because it seemed that you weren't accepted in either one. You had to act one way to the outside world to protect yourself and others, because I just heard so that someone doesn't get arrested, so that you don't get arrested, or the people that were responsible for you when you were a minor didn't, that kind of thing. And then act differently in your home environment, where there was like a lot of dominance and abuse, that kind of thing, where it was everyone kind of had to fend for themselves and prove themselves in an unnatural way, right? For like a home environment type of thing. And this is just to say like how much work you've done, and that it's time for you to acknowledge yourself and to see how much mastery you have achieved. And that's why if you feel like things are popping up and you're like, why is everybody testing me right now? It's so that you can see that this is your reaction to it. That an older version of you wouldn't have been able to handle this whatsoever. And you're sitting here being like, is there something in me? Did I do something wrong? Like you're examining your own energy. Whereas before it would have been all projected out. And it would have been a bit of a spectacle. And this is why people like to manipulate and play with that energy, because you were such a short fuse, or it was very easy to push your buttons or to activate you in any kind of way. And that version of you has evolved with this Phoenix here, that person isn't available anymore. So congratulations on your transformation. I'm getting a lot of butterfly imagery, so you may be seeing that a lot as well. I'm also getting moths, so that could be specific to some of you. But congratulations on your transformation. If this resonates with you, let me know. If you'd like your own personal reading with me, either on this situation or something else in your life, you can head to the link in my bio. They're in my Etsy shop. I also have personal meetings scheduled now, because you guys have been reaching out to me about just wanting to speak with me one-on-one. So those are in my Calendly. That's also in my bio. And check out my Substack while you're there. Thanks, guys.